Bigger, bigger, better, better, bolder, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. Bigger, bigger, better, better, bolder, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger. Bigger, bigger, better, better.
Okay, I don't think anybody can hear me. Your browser failed to play the clip. Oh my gosh. Let me see what's going on here. No internet. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, K-Man. My apologies. Seems like we had a little power outage last night, and that was causing me a few issues here this morning. Although I understand you guys could hear me, I couldn't actually see anything on this end. So I think we're good. I think we're good on radio. I think we're good on social now. So we are ready to rock and roll, honey chill. Are we connected to radio? I think so. I believe we are. All right. I think. Yes. Good on radio. Thank you, Sir G. Appreciate your confirmation. All righty. So we do have Mr. Franz Manderson, who is going to be joining us a little bit later on this morning to talk about the rollover policy as it relates to civil servants. So really looking forward to that conversation. But in the meanwhile, we got another scammer to expose. Oh my gosh. I need to rename K-Man Scammer Nation. And we can start with our own people because we sure have enough of them to go around. And then we can throw in the expats for good measure because enough of them too. Oh, one scam after the next, honey child. So yesterday, the RCIPS announced that they had charged one scammer. And I know sometimes dealing with them can be frustrating, but I guess they have their process, which is painfully slow. So, you got to be in it for the long haul. You can't expect any fast action there because, they've got to cross their T's and dot their I's. So let's give them credit. They seem more and more to be actioning these matters, which I think is good. And so did you guys see the one yesterday with this woman? Hold on. Let me just get her information. She was running a rental scam. And as I recall, I stand to be corrected because, like I said, there's so many scammers that after a while, I kind of do forget who's who and what they've been up to and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that this particular one, we may have actually alerted them about again, because when you guys come to us, I always say, listen, you come to CMR. I know you guys believe that we perform miracles, but honestly, there is only so much that we can do. And you have got to go to the authorities. They're the ones, honey child, who have the prosecutory power, as we call it in law. I don't have that power. Man, I wish I did, but I don't. So, the only way to stop these individuals, it isn't getting your money back. And I know that hurts to hear that because obviously a lot of you are like, listen, Sandy, I don't care. I just want my money back. Well, you have to care because ultimately these individuals are going to, I'm missing one light this morning. I can't get my light on. So you'll see the difference when I turn my camera on. Ultimately, these individuals are going to keep doing this, and they leave a whole slew of victims. When I say a whole slew, I do mean a whole slew of victims in their wake. So, you're thinking, okay, I've already been victimized. What do I care if they have another victim? Well, you have to care because the next victim could be someone related to you. It could be a family member. It could be your child. You just do not know. And so the right thing to do, folks, yeah, okay, come to CMR because I know y'all think we're miracle workers over here. All right, I don't mind doing my bit, what I can do. But I'm telling you, the most important thing to do is to actually go to the police, file a police report, financial crimes unit will get involved, and they'll start their arduous process of investigating. And I must say, most of these cases are actually a really easy win because they're not the brightest, not for nothing, but the scammers don't tend to be all that smart. And a lot of them also have what's the fancy word today? Proclivity towards doing it. So in other words, this ain't their first time at the rodeo. They've been at this before. People know. Some people know who they are. They'd be like, Sandy, you can't trust that person. Them, they was born a thief. They come out of their mama cuckoo, ha 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 ha, stealing. And I'm like, what? Yeah, we know them long time. They're not changing. So here's one that is going to be spending some time, most likely, at Her Majesty's Palace, enjoying a free vacation on the people, the back of the people. Now, poor little thing, she's not going to be eating all that good food now, so she might actually be able to go on the Ozempic prison program, where she'd probably lose a few pounds up in prison. Although I must tell you, most people gain weight in prison. I think it tends to be the men that go in there and get fat and chunky. Not so much the women, honey child. I don't know why. But the men be going in there eating double and come out with a nice pudgy and looking like they were on vacation. That's why when they lie to you, like, oh, I was overseas studying. You'd be like, really? You almost believe them because they do kind of look the part. I mean, they look like they've been vacationing at Club Fed, Her Majesty's Palace, His Majesty now. So yeah, it's possible that, prison Ozempic program might be of some assistance to some of you. Okay. Now, I'm always surprised at how people are able to lie the way that they do. Oh my God. Some of these people are incredibly prolific liars. I mean, not for nothing, but they would lie the sandals, the Nazareth sandals, right off of baby Jesus. They're ridiculous. All right, hold on. So this one has been charged. West Bay woman charged. Her name is Alicia Brown Blake. More than a year, I told y'all they're slow. After her initial arrest, 43-year-old has now been formally charged in connection with a rental scam that defrauded multiple individuals. She's going to appear in court June the 10th to face 10 counts of obtaining property by deception. Chances are there's probably 20, 30 people out there who've been her victims, but a lot of them do not come forward and they don't go to the authorities. And unfortunately, what you going to do? So yes, it says that she was arrested on January 13th following a Kimanma Road expose that highlighted the fraudulent scheme. Oh yes, I figured she was another one we assisted with. Lord Jesus. Anyway, one of the complainants responded to a rental advertisement for a property in the Prospect area. And after making payment to secure the unit, the victim was unable to contact the woman again. It was later relisted on the same website, raising red flags and confirming suspicions of a scam. There's also a guy who was out there scamming people, very, very similar, except what he's doing. And this one, I'm hoping the police, they've not yet made an arrest, but I'm hoping that they will be able to. What he's doing, folks, is he's actually going out there charging a fee. Now, this one is really bizarre, but he's going out there charging a fee to view the unit. A few of you have sent this to me before, and you're like, Sandy, does this look right? I'm like, listen, no one charges a fee to view a rental unit. Since when is that a thing? I don't even know anything about that. Is that for real? That's like, no, that's okay. So, don't pay no. So yeah, that's what he does. He'll charge you. And you're supposed to fork up $300, I think it's $300 or $350 just to view it. Come on now. He probably doesn't even have access to that rental unit. He's not the real person, nothing. So imagine this. If you have 10 people that you show a rental unit to and you charge each of them $300, hello, you see where the money comes in? And the question is, why would he do that? Why would a legitimate person who is renting seek to, why would they seek to charge you to view the unit? That's just scammerish. I mean, I can't think of a proper word for it, but that is straight up a scam, and it makes zero to no sense whatsoever. Folks, you got to be smart out here in these streets. Let me tell you now, you have to look out for you. Okay? These scammers, they're, this is what they do for a living. This is how they earn their money. So it's like it's a job for them. And what that means is they will do everything in their power to try to ensure that they separate you from your hard-earned money. People work too hard for their money. This is just absolutely disgusting. All right. So be forewarned, folks. This is quite a serious situation. Someone says you look nice today. Is that a new, where did that message come in? Oh, new top. Actually, I'm wearing a dress today. I know I don't wear dresses anywhere near enough, but nope, wearing a dress today, honey. Yeah. So yes, it's a full dress. I'm going to court again today, so I got to look cutish. All right. So what a hot mess. 43 years old, career criminals, Caymanians. Ugh. Can't believe it. All right. If that's all I had to tell you this morning was one scammer, we'd be doing pretty good. However, there's more. Ay, ay, ay. Look, Okay. There is a lady. I'm going to pull up all of her pictures because, ooh, she is going to jail. I had to work hard to track her down. Let me show you guys. Just give me 1 second here. She claims to have cancer. Please look at the expression on my face when I tell you this. I said she claims to have cancer. Do I believe her? No. I think she's lying about that too. Now, I hate to be, so tough about this, but I tell you what, these people have a substantial track record why I feel the way that I do. Isn't that horrible? Isn't that horrible to say that I don't believe someone who claims that they have colon cancer? They go around telling people that they've shaved off their head. And now they're like, oh, I have colon cancer. Well, I'm going to tell you why I don't believe her. Because she is, again, prolific, has already been to jail for scamming people. And do you think that that is going to stop her? No. She just keeps going. So give me 1 second here because we got all of the proof on this one. All the screenshots, all the receipts, everything. So the first thing she did, this one now is a vehicle scam. She's claiming to be renting or selling a vehicle that she does not even own. Not for nothing. But a lot of times you guys report stuff to CMR. We try to be on top of it. And for the most part, we are. And then something else pops up about an individual, and I didn't realize how it was all interconnected. And then it comes back to me, and I'm like, what? Big shout out to our CMR team that does such a fabulous job with, looking back at our archives and seeing who's reached out and that sort of thing. This lady's name is Vanessa Scott Carnegie. She's a scammer. And apparently her poor dad is a former police officer from East End. Oh my God, what an embarrassment to have one of these people in the family. Jeez. Okay, so I'm going to show you her, and we're going to start this one off slow and easy because this story gets a little bit complicated. Back in 2024, apparently someone reached out to us and said, hey, this woman, this looks like a scam. What do you think? And I said, I looked at her ad and I said, yeah, boy, this one don't look too good. And so we actually posted it on August the 14th, my apologies, of 2024. Lo and behold, here she is again, being featured on CMR. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you guys the original post that we had put up about her. And I want to say that, I think this person who reached out may not have been scammed, but I know that other people have been. So hold on 1 second, honey, chill. So here we are. You guys remember this one? This Simplicity Leasing Cayman. And I said, someone reached out to Auntie Sandy a few days ago about this company. It's imperative that you contact her again ASAP. So someone reached out and then we couldn't find the message. And I know some of you were like, the ad is confusing. Simplicity Leasing, what are they leasing? Because they had like lingerie listed here. Somebody else said, from the time that she asked me for deposit and the car wasn't here, plus you have no office, I blocked the number. So you could see there were things going on here based on the comment section. Another person said, I'm waiting to hear about the company. Right? So here you go. Now it's coming full circle. The same woman who was doing this, her name is Vanessa Scott Carnegie or whatever the heck her name is. And she has gone to great lengths to hide herself. No photos. Listen, this was the photo that I got of her. Let me show y'all something. It was hard to find a photo of her because she is low-key hiding. I found this old black and white photo. And I was like, So I said, you know what? This is how we're going to track her down. Detective Sandy in the house. We put this up and says, anybody knows her? Well, y'all know her all right, honey child. Y'all know her. But I couldn't find a picture. She is good in the sense that she's constantly hiding. So this time, she's managed to steal $5,500 from a hard-working person. Isn't that disgusting? $5,500. There's another victim who lost another $3,500 last year. And that's just the ones that I know about. Who else? Somebody said, what a sad state of affairs if you have to start leasing lingerie. Lord have mercy, for real. Anyway, yes. So she's a real scammer. So this person paid her $5,500. You guys know we got to get all the receipts. Here is red flag number 1. She gave a fake name. First of all, don't pay people in cash. Now listen to me carefully. Do not give people cash. Okay? They want you to give them money for a car or anything more than a couple $100, I would say. Don't pay it in cash. Say, fine. I need source of funds proof. This is the truth. This is what I tell them, and this is what I say. Right? I need source of funds, which means when my bank says, where did that $5,500 go that you took out? I can't be like, oh, I just handed that cash to somebody. No. I want to send that across as an electronic funds transfer if you with another bank, or I want to send that through as a interbank transfer. That way, you can verify the name. You need a bank account number and name. You see, she was able to get away with the fake name element because you don't know this woman. You're not asking for ID. Okay. So Vanessa Chinderma. Who the hell is Vanessa Chinderma? It's Vanessa Scott. So she kept the same first name, changed up the last name. Good morning, caller.
Morning. I would just wanted to say real quick, if they're not tech savvy, if they don't have online banking, they can also purchase a bank draft, which will also require the name.
Exactly. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yes. So, or if you don't have online banking, you go in the bank and you make a deposit, and then you have your deposit slip with a proper name and account number. Good thing came on small, because this Vanessa Chinderma, you would not be able to find her. Okay? So fake name, deposit on Burgundy Honda Vessel or Diesel, however that's pronounced. The other thing is, folks, I have sold vehicles before. And let me tell you something. Maybe this is just a lawyer in me. I don't know. But when you sell a vehicle, you need more information than just a general description about a Burgundy Honda Vessel. No, 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 honey child. What you need is a VIN number. Mm-hmm. The year of the car. It's a 2010. There's so many issues with this. Because she's claiming she's selling you a burgundy Honda Vessel. Maybe the one you saw was a 2019 model, and then she's going to sell you one that's a 2007 model. Details matter. Get the year and make of the vehicle. Okay. Then you're going to turn around and get the VIN number, because the VIN number specifies the exact vehicle that's being sold to you. So that when you get it, those transfer papers, that VIN number there better match the VIN number that's on your receipt or your contract. Capiche? I'm teaching y'all because I'm trying to help y'all. So this woman paid her on May the 1st, $5,500. Now, she's as crooked as they come. So a whole week later, still no money, still no car. Then what happens? She claims that, oh, I'm sick. I have cancer. I've been taking treatment. One pilot, we're dropping the story this morning. You can read all of the salacious excuses because the woman lies more. Oh, before I show you that picture, I should give you a trigger warning. The woman lies more than anything. She's a professional liar. So at one point, she claims that, okay, I've been sick and I've got cancer and I'm taking treatments and blah, blah, blah. Woe is me. I'm just going to send you your money back. Of course you are. She falsified. Here she is. She goes online and pretends that she is sending a successful transfer. My God, you people are such scam artists. Who does this? Right? So May the 20th, she claims that she's sending back the $55. Status successful. Look at this transfer type. Now, this is when something wrong. Customer of another bank in my country. That's not a transfer type. That should have been a red flag that this woman is doctoring this information. I've never seen an EFT like that. Then she makes up this fraudulent bank account number. Only God knows where that has come from or what bank this is supposed to be from. 2, she puts her account number, refund in full from car sale. Wow. Talk about skills. Then when she's given all these excuses about why she can't get to sort out the car, oh, I'm having the car cleaned, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. The next, she plays the I'm sick card. Yeah, if you were so sick, maybe you should find somebody else to effect the transfer for you, because it's really easy to transfer a vehicle. You just give them the logbook and then they go and do the rest. But she claims Sheena had no time to do it. Then she sends this picture, trigger warning, because I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. But she claims that she has colon cancer, and I'm not sure what this puncture thing is, but she claims this is where she's injecting herself for her cancer treatments. Excuse me? What do you say? You're treating yourself for cancer? Yo, this woman is sick. All of this to gain sympathy. Like I said, she is very, very good at scamming people. So I was looking high and low for her photo, and I hope she know, although now she's got her head shaven, this is CMR Detective Agency. Thank you very much. And we found her. Can we get a kaboom up in here? Like I said, this was like finding the Holy Grail, honey child. It was a very difficult proposition. There she is. Okay? She did her best to make sure there was no traces of her on social media. So, this is her. This is Vanessa Scott. And Vanessa Scott, unfortunately, is, hold on. I need to adjust for my guess. One quick second here, folks. He's probably in the wrong studio because I need to make one quick change. So here Vanessa is doing the most in terms of just being a proper scam artist and scamming people out of their hard-earned money. Okay, that's what she does. That's her MO, and it's quite sad, quite frankly, because what I can tell you is I feel like there's so many more victims out there. There's another victim from last year. They lost $1,100 from her. And she's going to just keep going unless you guys report it to the police. But I've got some good news this morning, honey jail. She was arrested and given bail. Well, that's not the good news, but I told y'all they're entitled to bail. So she was given bail, and here she is now leaving the detention center, jailbird. There she is, shaved off her head, pretending like she has cancer. Like I said, I don't believe it. Now, God forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think that's just another ploy in order to get people to be sympathetic towards her. Let's listen to a voice note and see what the voice note says. Give me one quick second here. This woman's something else. She's dangerous. And here's the best part. I'm going to give you the history on her, because you probably wouldn't be surprised to know this is definitely not her first time at the rodeo. And she's actually been to jail before. So she's reminding me of that other lady, the rental scammer. They keep going to jail for different types of scam and they can't learn. My God. Wow. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, please refresh. All right. So this one says, now that's a show for you. Sandy PI. I know that people would love to hire you as a PI to find out about their what their significant others are doing. Oh, Lord, can't help you there. But yeah, so that's her leaving the jailhouse. Let's listen to this voice note. All right, let's see what we got. It's kind of low. Oh, no. Oh, no. So sorry. That's not, my apologies. That's not the one. Okay. That's not, I thought that was something she had sent. No. But anyway, she's a scammer. And here's the craziest thing. Where's Vanessa? Where is the original Vanessa Scott? Fan of the show. Where are you at this morning, honey chow? That Vanessa is always getting mixed up in her foolishness. Where are you, Vanessa? Vanessa, where are you? Because apparently there's another Vanessa Scott. She spells her first name completely differently. Vanessa, are you here? Because apparently that Vanessa is always, I don't see you. Maybe exit and come back in. So apparently that Vanessa is always getting phone calls from the police. Oh, we're looking for you. We need to arrest you. We've got a warrant for your arrest. And it's just the wrong person. So girl, you better go change your name, because this girl is a hot mess and then some. You're going to be getting phone calls forever. They're always issuing warrants for her arrest. She's always running some scam on somebody. Wow. Crazy. Jean says, rule of thumb, don't lease a car from anybody who's also leasing lingerie. Good morning, Miss Barbara. Oh, we had a better picture, honey child. We had to dig hard though, strong will. But the thing is, she's going to look a little bit differently now, because she's definitely lost some weight. And apparently she has a sister that looks a lot like her. So please don't confuse her for the sister, because I think the sister actually works Cayman Airways. But, okay, not seeing you. Hold on. So, unfortunately, her family now has to be, dealing with this situation and the fallout for them, the embarrassment. But let me assure you all, we all have scammers in the family. We all have deadbeats in our families. We all have criminals. One of my sisters this week walking around with an ankle bracelet, honey chow, arrested for trying to stab up the husband or kill the husband. No surprises there. Okay. And, What are you going to do? I don't have any control over another adult, 56 years old grandmother who's still out in these streets pretending like she is 12, trying to fight people. All I'm here to do is report the cold, hard truth. Sure. So there she is. Melita said she thought it was a long lost child that somebody was trying to find. Nope. Present thief. Long lost thief. That's right. I'm not seeing you at all, Mr. Manderson. Are you sure? I don't know what's going on. We're trying to get him in the studio, and I'm simply not seeing him. Okay, thank you, honey child. Just check your browser settings. Make sure no security blocking you. Okay. All right, so there is Vanessa. Be careful of this woman. Like I said, the picture on the left is a recent photo of her when she was leaving the detention center after being granted bail. Short hair now, claims that she has cancer and still out there scamming people. Oh my God. Shopia K-Man says, I'm a victim. She did it yesterday. What? You need to contact the police. Listen here, honey child, financial crime already has several reports on her. Please reach out and inform them of how she scammed you. She has a child, probably some child that she stole, probably using a stolen child as well. Oh my God, so horrible. Mirror Star says lying on sickness and getting fat on people money she stole. Shame on you, gal. Well, look like she's getting skinny now. She probably lying and getting some Ozempic to lose some weight to try to make the cancer thing much more believable. Why they bail her? Well, again, everyone is entitled to bail, especially at this early stage. She's only been arrested. She's not yet been charged and so on. Oh, she told you yesterday she's going off island for surgery. Wow. Huh. Wow. Good morning, Miss Gladys, joining us from New York. The other Vanessa is Spanish, I think, and a lot younger. Well, actually, oh, here, Vanessa, there you are. Well, this Vanessa is, she is Spanish. And believe it or not, she's actually older than this one. This one just looks, she just looks like she's been around the rodeo for a minute or two. So, yeah. Shopia says, oh my, this lady scammed me about a week now of $630. She came to purchase some stuff with a little girl. Oh my gosh. Trust me, contact the police. So the sister doesn't work Kim Airways anymore? Okay. Wow. All right, well, there she is, folks. This is an older picture, more recent photos, and I can tell you that unfortunately her behavior leaves a lot to be desired. It seems like she is hell-bent on being a lifetime criminal. So very, very sad. All right, so one person says, yeah, the sister used to work Kim Airways Cargo. She's now with another company. She has a brother that works Progress. Listen, I feel sorry for the family because they ain't got nothing to do with her, I'm sure, in her scamming ways. She's just prolific. All right, let me see here now. All right, let me see here now. Let me see. All right, so watch out for her, honey child, because she is she's coming for your money if you're not careful. We'll keep an eye on this one, and we will certainly let you know what the authorities do with this case. Police, please hurry up and expedite that investigation so that we can get her off the streets. Because unfortunately, if we don't get her off the streets, this is what's going to happen. She's just going to continue scamming people. Okay. Let me see here. All right. So she stole from me too. I hear you, Mr. France. Now you're in. I'll come to you in just a second. So another person who owns a local business, wow, said she stole from me too. So, you know, all of you need to give a statement to the police, because what happens is at some point they're going to collectively put everything together. And then it's going to look like a proper case. And then you see the judges get an idea, because when they go to court, of course, she's going to lie. She's going to be like, oh, Your Honor, you know, I was really sick and this was just a mix up with this situation with this one person. And the judges only know what is put before them. They're not going to know anything else. So the more of you that come forward as victims of this woman and say, no, she stole from me and she gave me this story, and she stole from me, gave me this story, it builds a much clearer picture that this woman is simply a scam artist, you know? And then the court goes, wow, she's already been to jail for this type of behavior. She's not stopping. Then she is just a career criminal and a career thief. All right. So please, I'm begging you guys, watch out for her. She's on bail. I don't know if they got her on an ankle monitor. Probably not. Looks like they gave her bail in her own recognizance. And so she'll be walking around until charges are filed, and then she goes to court. Contact the financial crime unit. I wish I had their number handy or their email. I'll get it before the end of the show. All right, before we bring in Mr. Manderson, just a couple quick updates. Yesterday, we were chasing up a few things. Number one, the car that we reported, remember the red Honda Fit that we talked about being on the side of the road for God knows how long, for weeks? That vehicle, I'm happy to say, has now been moved after yesterday's show. I guess they were listening to yesterday's program, and they have now taken the time to move the vehicle. So somebody said, oh, well, you know, what if they were in the hospital all banged up all this time? Honey child, please. Can we please stop looking for reasons to give people an excuse to do the wrong thing in our community? Because I tell you what, if they were in the hospital all banged up, they sure got on it quick yesterday and had it moved. So we're not buying any such excuses. Because, you know, if you're in the hospital, have your family members call a tow truck. I don't know what the going rate for tow trucks are these days, and have the vehicle moved. Y'all are not even thinking about the environmental impact of this sort of stuff on our roadways. So there's a couple more that have been reported. In fact, someone reported an accident that we posted. Let me see here now. Back on May the 18th, this is where the fire, remember that truck, it was like a work truck or something that caught on fire? Well, someone reported to me yesterday that vehicle, let me tell you exactly what they said. They said not a splinter of glass has been removed from the shoulder of the road of the above incident. Now, I don't know whose responsibility it is. Maybe NRA? I'm not really sure. Whose responsibility it is to clean up after an accident, like the public road part of it. So obviously the burnt out truck is gone, but who is supposed to clean up all the glass and debris? Because then, you know, you're driving and walking on the roads, and this is something that is going to negatively impact you. So I'm happy to report that I have reached out to DEH, because I kind of thought at first maybe them, but now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more this morning, it's actually possible it might be NRA. So I will send it to both of them and see if we can't get that sorted out. There's another vehicle in West Bay that has been there, I'm told, for maybe a year, if not more, that's parked up. We'll feature that one on another program or another post. That this is the vehicle now that all of the green glass are there. I don't know whose responsibility it is to clean that up, but we'll reach out to some of the authorities. One further update before we bring in Mr. Manderson is a lot of you were asking me, what about the Brack child murder? And of course, it slipped my mind. My sincere apologies. It slipped my mind during the police press conference to even bring it up. And so I did chase it up yesterday as promised. And I'm happy to give you some sort of an update. It's not the update that we probably want, but at least I think it's important to know that the police are not just sitting down doing nothing. This is indeed moving forward. So the police put a file together and sent it over to the DPP's office in December. Here we are now. This is May. So they sent the file in December. The DPP's office, this is very, very interesting, has now passed the file to King's Counsel in the UK, and they're waiting for a response. Seems like this is going to be a tough case for them. They're realizing already before they even, proceed any further with charges, they want a King's Counsel to review the file. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. So that's the latest that we've got. And King Counsel then in the UK are reviewing it. And we're hopeful that we will see some justice for that poor little Alyssa baby that lost her life in Cayman Brack. Such an unfortunate situation. And we'll keep you guys updated as soon as we know something. Financial crime, thank you, Jean. Their number 949-8797. You get an A+ for class today. Mr. Amelia says, kaboom, I told you, you does wonders. Good morning, Aliano. We've already blazed up the thief for the day. So rewind after the show. Let us welcome our guest this morning. Oh yes, Myrta, thank you so much about Lookout Gardens. Thank you. Let me just ping myself in your message because I have not, shame on me. Sometimes I do forget. Little things fall through the crack, but thanks for the reminder. After the show, I'm going to send that to the relevant authorities. Yes. Aliano, I don't work for the RCIPS, so nothing on that one yet. I can ask, but I think, no, it wasn't that one. It was, okay. We'll go through the police stuff probably maybe on tomorrow's show. All right, goody. Let's bring in the ever wonderful Mr. France Manderson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning.
Yes, I can see you and I can hear you loud and clear.
I'm not hearing you.
You're not? Oh gosh. Check some of the settings. Hold on. Check your computer settings. Something is likely muted. I'm not sure. All right, but we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. So thank you, Mr. Manderson, for coming on the program. And we are here to talk to you about immigration matters, specifically as it relates to a new rollover policy that is coming in place for the civil servants. And we're here to obviously have you answer any sort of general questions about that our audience may have. And I can tell you, even in advance of your appearance, there were people who were like, oh my gosh, Mr. Manderson's on tomorrow. Please ask him this question for me, because there's a lot that people simply don't understand about how this is going to work. But first of all, let me thank you for doing the sort of video, which we did show here on the program about this, because I think that was helpful and it certainly did answer some questions. But, people find law and these sorts of things a little bit complicated. So we're going to dig right in. I know that you had talked about this before, and can I just ask you, do you think this is something that will truly benefit Caymanians who are looking to enter the workforce? Because I think it is interesting that, in fact, a lot of Caymanians come into government, and the average time they're staying is about 5.5 years.
Not Caymanians, but non-Caymanians. But anyway.
Oh, non-Caymanians are staying 5.5 years.
Yes.
Oh, my apologies. I thought, so what is the average time that Caymanians stay?
It's quite a bit longer.
Okay.
I'm not sure that I have that particular stat, but I do have the stat on the non-Caymanians. So I'll come to that in a minute. Yes.
So that's interesting, because then if that is a fact, do we know what percentage of them stay for 5.5 years? Is that like 80%, 90%?
So basically, the average time. So the average time in non-Caymanian stays in the civil service is about 5.8 years. So the average time. So I can give you. I have lots of stats to share. So, um,
Okay.
but what I would like to do, Sandra, before I start, is just to pay tribute to two outstanding civil servants that we laid to rest on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Ernest Scott, who was the district commissioner in Kimabrak, who worked for 47 years with the government, a civil servant in the Sister Islands, and of course, Mr. Samuel Whitelock, one of our brave firefighters, who was also laid to rest on Saturday. Apologies to Mr. Whitelock family. I was not at his funeral. I was over in the Brac attending Mr. Scott's funeral. The Premier and I tried to split up duties, so the Premier went to the fire service here, and I went to the service in the Brac. But I want to pay tribute to both of those and to again extend my condolences to the families of Mr. Scott and Mr. Whitelock. If you think of the service that they put together, the long service, 47 years and 37 years, that's an extended period of time in service of our country. So we owe them both a debt of gratitude. Yes. So
yes.
I know, Sandra, you and I go way back to my days at immigration, so it doesn't seem like I'm able to get away from immigration, even though I am deputy governor. It always seems to come around. And I remember the days of you and I when you first had your talk show coming on, educating the public. Actually, I think when we introduced term limits in the private sector, that was 20 years ago.
That was, oh my gosh, would it have been around 2009?
It was around 20. I think it was like in, so it was 2005, I think.
2005. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, because I remember lots of debate about that.
Yes.
And in fact, was it David Rich might have been chair of the board at the time?
That's correct. That's right.
And he came on the program and he was explaining the necessity of the rollover period and the term limits and the whole 9 yards, because a lot of people just were not understanding it. So yes, it's true that you and I have quite a long history. We even went to law school together.
That's right.
I think part of the time.
Yeah. So basically, what I want to just start by saying is that we introduced term limits in the private sector 20 years ago. Yes. Why did we do that? We did it because people were coming to Cayman on a work permit and spending 15, 20, 25 years here on a work permit. The work permit would get turned down or they would get fired. And the next thing we know is, I've lived here for 25 years. You can't send me home now. And the government of the day accepted that was not acceptable. Also, we were getting lots of complaints that Caymanians were not getting the best jobs that they, even though they were qualified for when they applied for jobs in the private sector. And also that there was this glass ceiling that Caymanians were not getting promoted up. They were not getting to equity. They were not becoming senior leaders in their agencies. And it was felt at the time that if you put in a term limit policy, so you would first of all stop people from living here for 15 to 20 years without having permanent residence or some security of tenure, but also by requiring people to leave for a year, you would create opportunities for our people to get the jobs and for our people to move up the corporate ladder. Now, 20 years later, Sandra, we are still talking about those latter two things. We are still talking about Caymanians not getting the very best jobs that they're qualified for, and Caymanians not able to climb the corporate ladder.
Yes.
So term limits.
And let me tell you something too, France. It's gone from a glass ceiling to a concrete wall for a lot of people.
Exactly. Because once you give somebody PR, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It is concrete.
Yeah.
So while term limits has been very successful in reducing the time people get to stay in Cayman without that type of security, it has not translated into better jobs for Caymanians, more upward mobility for Caymanians. So what when this issue was brought up in the civil service, and we accepted it was wrong to have two different systems. There was a rollover policy in the private sector, but it didn't apply to the civil service. So we began to investigate this in last year. How do we do this? How can we get it done? It needs to be done. Although we are the largest employer of Caymanians, we are not going to say, well, okay, well, then that's fine. We want to always do better, challenge ourselves to find ways to make sure that Caymanians are coming into the civil service. And I must tell you that they are in record numbers, but also that Caymanians are moving up the ladder, and getting the very best jobs that they deserve. We want them to realize their dreams. I am here today as Deputy Governor because many people believed in me, gave me opportunities to go from being a clerical assistant to the Deputy Governor. I want to make sure that I give that same opportunity to as many as my people as possible. So the question is, how can we do it better? So if the term limits has not done what we expected it to do in the private sector, simply applying it in the government was not going to, in my opinion, make any things differently. So what we agreed to was the challenge that I gave to my team was, one, we have to ensure that we do not disrupt essential services. So remember, Sandra, is that the government provides services that nobody else in the Cayman Islands does, right? So if you don't like your bank, you can go to another bank. But when you call the police and they don't come, there's no one else to call. When we put people in prison, there's only one set of people that's going to guard them. There's only one set of people that works in our care homes, caring for our elderly. And of course, we have a large group of people who teach our children. So those 4 departments, and I named them by deliberately, those 4 departments provide critical, essential services to the people of the Cayman Islands, and they do it exceptionally well. That's where the majority of our non-Caymanians are. So we have about 1,400 non-Caymanians in the civil service. Now compare that to 37,000 in the private sector. So we employ about 15% of all the Caymanians that are out there, and we employ about 4% of non-Caymanians. But 1,400 persons are in the civil service that are non-Caymanian. But 800 of those work in those four departments. So we have really over 500 people working in education that are not from Cayman. The majority of our teachers are not. We cannot graduate enough Caymanian teachers to fill all of those positions. We have 200 policemen. It's about 50-50 in RCIP. The commissioner has been doing a good job bringing in young Caymanians into the RCIP, but there's still a number of non-Caymanians there. Again, in some of our specialist areas. And children and family services, like I said, in our care homes, the people that care for our grandmothers and grandfathers, sisters and brothers, when they get elderly or infirm, those persons are majority of non-Caymanians. And of course, in our prison. So we want to make sure that there's no disruption to those essential services. Because while we all love term limits and we say it's going to be a great thing, the day that your child comes home and says there was no teacher in my class, that's going to be a problem. Or I called the RCIP and I did not get a timely response. That is going to be a problem. So the number one thing was, let us implement this in a way that does not affect the service to our people. The people depend on the government for essential services, and we have to find a way to always provide that. Number two was that we want to make sure that anything we did was better than what was existing now in the private sector. So number one was we will increase the break and stay that a person has when they reach their term limit if they are not granted permanent residence from 1 year to 2 years. The reason we have done that is everyone knows what happens in the private sector. Well, not all the time, but if you have this outstanding employee, they reach their term limit, you send them away for a year, and then you bring them back, and you never replace that person with a Caymanian.
Exactly.
2 years makes you really think, well, you know what, I need to find someone for that position. Also, we want to designate certain occupations that can only be could only be held by a Caymanian. And that is a bold step for us, but we think it is absolutely necessary if we are going to ensure, again, that Caymanians are coming into the civil service and getting the very best jobs. So, right off the bat, you can think of agencies like CBC, like work, like fire, already all our receptionists, all our admin staff, all our clerical staff, all those are Caymanians. And yes, those are great jobs, but I want to make sure that down the road, all our accountants, all our HR, all of those jobs are held by Caymanians. So this will be done over a period of time, but we are going to do it, and we're going to get it right. Also, we will be putting in a position where there is a contractual obligation for non-Caymanians to train Caymanians. So not just saying we want you to do it, we make it part of your contract that you will have to train someone while you are with us. In the private sector, they have something called Regulation 6, which is a training requirement that they put onto somebody's work permit, but we will make it part of their contract. Now, obviously, we won't do that to every contract, because if we have 500 teachers, we can't ask them to train someone, because there won't be enough Caymanians around. But there are a number of specialist posts that we have where we can identify Caymanians and to get that done. Also, we want to make sure about continuity of services. So we will build in some exemptions where Her Excellency, the governor, if people that she appoint needs to stay on for a bit longer, she can do it. If someone that I am responsible for needs to stay a bit longer, we have a police officer in the middle of a murder trial. We have a counsel in the middle of a case. We can do a short-term exemption for 2 years, which is published. So there won't be any guesswork about who gets an exemption and why. We want to shine the light on it. We want to make sure that the public can see what is it that we're doing.
Right. But would the exemption then allow them to potentially get to the point of PR, though?
No. So that would be one of the requirements. We're giving you an exemption, but that exemption doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be granted PR. So that's a safeguard that's already in the immigration law, and then we would mirror that here. Also, then we also need to have. There will be a time, for example, if there is a group of individuals. So if we are there's a global shortage on teachers at the moment. So if the government wanted to decide, I want to exempt some math teachers for a while until we can replace them, then that goes to cabinet, and cabinet will have the authority to say this group of persons, specialists in a particular area, for example, those persons can be exempted, and again, for a period of time. So we want to make sure, and of course, we have to protect our judiciary. So they would be exempt because, as you know, there's separation of powers, and judges have fixed contracts until I think they're 70. So we can't interfere in the tenure of judges. So we think what we have done is fair. It is proportionate, and it gets us what everyone wants, is more opportunities for Caymanians. Now, there's a lot of talk about the start date and how does that work. So this starts on the 1st of January 2026, and we needed that lead time because obviously we have to get the bill passed. It has to go to Parliament. It has to be debated. All of those things has to happen. And that is happening, very quickly. We expect it to go to the first sitting of the Parliament. I want to just pause for a minute just to thank the premier and his government for working with us and getting us to where we are today. This is a very emotive subject, but I could not have asked for better cooperation and support from the premier and his government. So thanks to the premier and all of his ministers and members of caucus for working so closely with us to get us here today. We all want the same thing. We want betterment for our people. This was a big campaign promise that people made, and the civil service is delivering on that promise. We will need a lot of lead time to be able to do all of the work behind the scenes to get us ready for when the law comes into effect on the 1st of January 2026, because we need to have good communication with WRC so that we know how long people have been here, how long, when their term limit, how does that start, how do we make sure there's good communication between the departments, because one of the other things that we're doing is that we're strengthening the rules around civil servants joining, private sector persons joining the civil service to avoid term limits. So that won't be the case anymore, because we will have to make sure that if you are a private sector person and you come into the civil service, well, then you keep the term limit that you had, and vice versa. So lots of work has to be done in the background to make sure this is done right. It comes into effect, and then everyone, new and old, will then have a term limit, which is set by the government. So nobody is being booted out of the civil service tomorrow or the next day or next week, because of what I said earlier in terms of continuity of service and providing essential services. Now, people said to me, "But Mr. Manderson, does that mean that every civil servant automatically gets to year 6 or year 9 or whatever the term limit is?" And the answer is no. And that is because every civil servant, non-Caymanian, is on either a 2-year contract or a 3-year contract. We don't give 7-year contracts or 9-year contracts. So every 2 years or every 3 years, that contract comes up for renewal, and we will decide whether there's a Caymanian available or there's not, or if there's performance issues, then we deal with those things. So there's no automatic right to stay here by anyone in the civil service, non-Caymanian, between now, on the next 9 years. But we wanted to do this, like I said, very fairly. We consulted with our staff. We asked them questions. We got feedback. We talked to the heads of departments. And I think what we have put in place is a good system that's going to be betterment for all of us in the Cayman Islands.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yes. It's a mouthful, and it's definitely a lot to take in, but I think we're definitely on the right path here.
Yes.
But we do have quite a few people listening, and some people, like I said, even sent questions in advance of your anticipated appearance on today's show. They were so excited to hear that you were coming on to discuss this. So let's jump on a few of those so we can get points of clarity. And of course, some people might also be sharing, their positions on some of this. So one that came in, Mr. Manderson, Deputy Governor, is here with us this morning, said, "Good morning, Ms. Sandy. I'm putting this back to the top as the DG will be on today." So they had previously messaged. They said, "When you start to speak about CIG term limits, can we find out why the decision was made to make all non-Caymanian contracts effective January 1st, 2026. So I think you've in part answered this already, but perhaps just recap again, like when you're talking about continuity of service and these other things, that's why you needed some time.
Yes. So we're not saying that why the decision was made to make all non-Cayman contract effect. That's not what we're saying at all. We're saying this law comes into effect on the 1st of January 2026, and then persons, that's when all the civil servants term limits, non-Cayman civil servants, will begin. So, and as I said earlier, that does not mean that every non-Caymanian civil servant is going to get to year 9. for two reasons. One is that, first of all, we know that the average non-Caymanian civil servant works with us for 5.8 years, call it 6 years, and that we give 2-year or 3-year contracts. So if Caymanians become available during those times through succession planning or just advertising, then those persons will get those persons will be asked to leave, and a Caymanian will come into that post. So I think what we have put in place is, like I said, fair to everyone, and will achieve the outcomes that we want.
Mm-hmm. All right. The person goes on to say, so you clarify that it does not mean that they're going to have the opportunity to work for 11 years instead of 9.
Yeah.
They say if there are existing civil servants who are non-Caymanians that are already on a fixed term contract, why is it the government is allowing them to start fresh from January the 1st, 2026 for the start of their 9-year term?
Right. And as I explained, so folks, I get it, right? We all want to be tough, okay? I worked at immigration for 28 years. I know how to be tough, okay? But you also have to be realistic. So let's say we go with that, and we says, okay, term limit starts on the 1st of January. The next time your contract comes up, you have to leave. Well, what happens when 200 teachers come up? Okay, so we'll tell them to go home, and we will then replace them with 200 new teachers from somewhere else. Is that good for your children, that in the middle of their class, we're changing teachers all the time, policemen, all those things? Think of continuity and think of what is best overall for our country. I think that our teachers, the policemen that are risking their lives for you right now, we want to make sure that we are treating everyone as fair as possible. Simply be, just rolling someone over for the sake of it, does that really make our island better? I don't think so. Does it create another opportunity for a Caymanian? Not in those areas. And like I said, the majority of our non-Caymanians are in specialist positions. I took a look recently at all of the hires that we have done over the last year and a half. There were no surprises. There were specialists, there were maths teachers, there were reading specialists, there were all of the different types of specialist jobs. People were doing our anti-money laundering fight that we're fighting with that all the time with the FATF, people that we bring in to help us with that. The people that are the Caymanians that are in the private sector that do that work, we can't afford them. They make really, really, really good money. So we have to find other ways of, getting people into the civil service. The good news is, Sandra, I walk around the civil service. I go up and down the buildings. I am in the cafeterias, and I am meeting some really, really outstanding young Caymanians, middle-aged Caymanians who are now joining the civil service. And I ask them, why is it that you're joining us? And the number one reason is my friend works here, my family works here, and they tell me what a great place it is to work. So there is a lot of good things happening in our civil service that we should be proud of, and I think this is one of them. And this is one of the initiatives that is going to, I think, keep our civil service strong, keep the services that we provide at a very high level, while giving our people the absolute best opportunity to realize their dreams.
Mm-hmm. All right, lots of comments coming in, well over 700 people here listening to the show this morning. So we'll try to get to as many of your questions and comments as we can. This person says, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Manderson. Can you pause and define what a Caymanian is?
Under the immigration law, a Caymanian is someone defined under that law. So there's only one definition that I know. I think there is plans to do different types of Caymanians by right and Caymanians by birth. So I until we do that, I think there's only one type of Caymanian at the moment, someone who is, defined under our Immigration Act, whether they have got here by, well, what did we say, peen or pleen?
Yes.
They're both Caymanians at the right now. So it's yeah. I don't think I have a better answer for that.
Yes. All right. So some of the comments in the chat, Malika says, congrats, A, for term limits in government, B, for jobs for Caymanians only, and C, contractual obligations to train. However, these issues were obvious and longstanding. Why did it take so long? Well, it's the political arm, right?
Well, it's not just the political arm. Is that I certainly, if you had asked me this 2 years ago, Sandra, I would have been a bit hesitant, simply because of our capacity building. So we need people here that is going to train our people up, that are going to get our people in top positions. And I feel very good about where we are now. If you think back 2 years ago, our commissioner of police was a non-Caymanian, our fire chief was a non-Caymanian, our director of prison was a non-Caymanian. Where are we today? They're all Caymanians. So I was a bit hesitant, and if you can blame me or whatever, doing this before now. And yes, it was a political priority. Everyone campaigned on this, and I said to my team, we are ready. We have the capacity to be able to do this. We have a good mix of outstanding Caymanians, outstanding non-Caymanians working together. So I think the time is right. The jobs for Caymanians, the reserving jobs for Caymanians, we could have done that a long time ago. I put my hand up. Yes, we could have done that. But you know what? Nothing happens before its time. And, things always happen for a reason. So I think we're in a good position at the moment.
All right. Lots of comments around the judiciary. This person says, Miss Anita, good morning, says more generational Caymanians need to be in our legal and judiciary system too. Mayor Star says police officers, prison officers, the staff at the girls' home and boys' home, all expats. Caymanians can do that. Stop sinking your own people. Let's see. I believe the head is what controls the body and its own body. Don't pass laws for civil servants. It must affect private sector for sure. So let Caymanians get a hold of the private sector too. Don't tell me I'm missing the point. I surely know exactly the implementation here, but it's been in private sector for 20 years.
Yes. And I think, we have Minister Miles, who is now in charge of immigration. And I have to say the working relationship with his ministry, himself personally, and the portfolio of the civil service, my office, has been tremendous. And I would just say to those out there who are asking about what's going to be happening in the private sector, to stay tuned. I think the government will have an update on that very soon in terms of as you know, there wasn't just campaigning about civil servants, there was campaigning about major reform in our national immigration laws. So stay tuned.
All right, we've got a caller in the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. Madison.
Good morning, Mom.
I know I am. This old taxi driver, Lucille Forbes.
Good to hear from you, Mom.
I want to look in your face again. I don't see you very often, but whenever I see you come on the show, I'm so happy because you stop running all around in the bushes looking for overstairs in years gone by.
I remember those days, Mom.
Where
Yes.
you are, and I am proud of you to where you are sitting today. All I want you to do, deal fair with whatever you are doing.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
are respectable in my side. And I hope I see you soon. Take
Yes,
care
ma'am.
now. Bye.
All right,
You and your
thanks.
family.
Yeah, I remember those days in the bushes chasing people that were here illegally. So, yeah, some lots of memories. Working
Yes.
with some really brave people over at the immigration department. So, yes, come a long way.
All right, Balika says the judiciary should not be exempt. Exempting them means that there'll be no vacancies for Caymanians to step into.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we are saying is that we're exempting the judges and magistrates because, well, let's put it, certainly judges have a security of tenure in their contracts. So when we give them a contract, the contract is until I think age 70 for judges. So we cannot interfere in that. We don't want to be saying that the executive is trying to control judiciary. They must be independent and they must be allowed to get on with it without any type of interference from the thing, from the executive. And the good news is we're having Caymanian magistrates. You know, our chief magistrate, Ms. Angeline Hernandez, is a Caymanian. We have a number of Caymanians that are on the bench as acting magistrates. So I know that the Chief Justice is very keen to get Caymanians to come into the judiciary, except that when they do come in, then they do have that security of tenure. So I don't think that this means that we won't get Caymanian in our judiciary, in the judges and magistrates. I'm just saying that when we do employ a non-Caymanian, that we are not going to apply term limits to their contract.
All right. So there's some people who, you know, are going to nitpick and say, well, certain people are not Caymanians, you know, although they've been here 30, 40 years now. And so it really begs the question, at what point as Caymanians do we accept even that someone is a Caymanian? I heard, you know, the new Auditor General, there was a lot of feedback I got about that, Francis, said people were wholly insulted that he was being referred to as the first Caymanian. Maybe they should have said the first Bayesian Caymanian or something else, but people did not like the fact that GIS put out a press release saying that he was the first Caymanian. They're saying that this creates a fake narrative because he's not the first Caymanian.
Well, yeah, so I don't think I want to go there, Sandra. I mean, under our immigration law, until we change it, he is a Caymanian, right? So until the government says, here's the different types of Caymanians. As of the moment, he's a Caymanian. Her Excellency the Governor, I think, should be applauded for giving that job. Whether we want to say that he is a something else Caymanian, the fact of the matter is he's a Caymanian. He has Caymanian status, and he is the first person with Cayman status to have that role. Give the former Auditor General again a lot of credit. She came in and then trained up a Caymanian to take over her role, and it worked. So again, you can see, Sandra, is that, you know, listen, what I tell people all the time is simple. Work, and this is like a little controversial, so I need people to listen very carefully what I'm saying, is that work permit holders and government and non-contractor government, personal government contracts, those people don't take jobs away from Caymanians. Employers give jobs to non-Caymanians instead of giving them to Caymanians. A non-Caymanian can't come off a plane, go to Foster's and buy a work permit, right? Somebody has to make a conscious decision to employ, to make an application for a work permit. So what we need is employers, including Franz Manderson and all in the civil service, to do their endeavor best every day to give our own people that opportunity that they so richly deserve. Our students coming back from school, we have 100 and I think at the last count, 135 interns, Caymanian interns on government scholarships coming into the civil service for the summer. I am proud of that. But also then what we're also working together with the new government is to have a pathway that is not just a summer internship, it's a job down the road, whether it's in the private sector or in the public sector. We have to put an end to this situation where our young people come back from college and there's not an immediate opportunity for them. So this is something that we as the people of the Cayman Islands, we should own this and say, you know, we are going to do our part, whether it's train with our people, give people more opportunities, make up your mind. I am going to employ Caymanians to do this role. When I see employers really make up their mind that I am going to only put Caymanians in the role, it can work. You know, I applaud Mr. Bob Scotland over at the Coast Guard. That was his mandate to me. DG, I am going to find, 50 young Caymanians to do this role. I had doubts. I must tell you, I had doubts whether he was going to find that many young Caymanians that were going to take up that role, dangerous role in our Coast Guard. And boy, did they exceed my expectations. Really, it just shows, give our people the opportunity and they will deliver. So, my hats out to Mr. Scotland and Mr. Walton at RCIP, all of our Coast Guard officers who do an amazing job for us every day are all Caymanians. We now have a Caymanian helicopter pilot, from East End. So this is a real Caymanian guy.
I mean, the poor kid had to fight for it, though. You got to admit, it didn't come easy.
Absolutely. It was not easy. But we insisted that he be given the opportunity. He got it. Over 12 years, almost 13 years in training. But, I was one of my proudest moments as deputy governor was to see that young man get into a helicopter and that helicopter take off. I mean, that was absolutely amazing. So what this tells me is, of course, give people opportunities and they will exceed our expectations. Give
all right, we got a caller.
The opportunity.
Yes, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ms. Madison, and good morning, Sandy.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Ms. Madison, first of all, it's very good that you can make yourself available to discuss in this way.
Yes,
that's point number one. I've got 4 points. I think I can do them in a minute and a half.
Okay.
One, the judiciary, I don't see why they are exempted.
Okay.
One, right now as it is, you have people who are just acting judges. Some of them just come for individual cases. Sometimes they act only for 2 to 3 years. So I don't see why that should be a problem there. People like the president of the court, very often they serve for 4 to 5 years. So it is not new. It would not be new if you introduce rollover in the judiciary. Second point, in Cayman, I think you get too satisfied with getting crumbs. You have had Truman Borden Law School for 32 years. You don't have a single indigenous Caymanian judge. And somehow today you want to talk about, but you see, Mr. Hernandez is a Caymanian, or that the chief fire officer is finally Caymanian. When they got this new chief fire officer, they first bypassed him and employed somebody who wasn't qualified. And now that this person is appointed, now it's a big deal. Now, thirdly, I see that the more you explain, sir, the more I see that these measures will not have any big effect. But I don't have time to develop that point. The last point I should make is about people who are saying who is a Caymanian. Yeah, I think you are tone deaf. I'm sorry, I'll be very blunt with you. People are just saying, look, we want as indigenous Caymanians to be recognized in law as being different from those Caymanians who are new Caymanians. That's all they're asking. It's an emotional, psychic thing. And it does not sufficiently answer that to say, but the law says that. The law was made for man and not man for the law. You can change the law just to make that little distinction. Even if in practice, everybody will, Caymanians will have the same rights. You understand? They will have the same rights. But people are just asking for that recognition, and I think you need to be able to recognize that. Otherwise,
but to be fair, Mr. Belika, that's not for him to recognize. That's for the legislators to recognize.
Yeah.
The elected official.
Yeah, I can only tell you what the law says, sir. I am not here to make policy.
You don't make policy,
I understand exactly what they're saying. I understand exactly. Listen, I worked immigration for 28 years. I don't need nobody telling me about whether.
But you can recommend. You don't make policy, but you can recommend. I used to be a drafter. I never made policy, but I recommended sometimes on things for government to consider. So, but I do take the point that you can't make the decision. But I think it is something which, as a government, I think they need to look at. I thank you for your
very much.
Thanks very much.
I appreciate it. Another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, dear.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I just have a question for the deputy governor.
Yes.
When is he going to clean up the maladministration up in that civil service? This is Carrie. This is Carrie Whitaker from the BRAC. Y'all owe me a ton of money, and you have not bothered. I've emailed you all the rejection letters from immigration. You have seen it over the years. You know about all of the plight I've been on, Mr. Manderson. I've called you out numerous times, and you've ignored me. So I want to know when you're going to clean up the maladministration.
I'm not aware of any maladministration at all. I know that we have been dealing with some serious abuse of work permits, where people have been taking out work permits and never had any jobs for people, but I'm not aware of any maladministration at all. If you think there's maladministration in the civil service, go to the office of the ombudsman. That's who is responsible for maladministration in the civil service. If you think that I'm not doing my job, then I have a boss. But I'm not aware of any maladministration, and from the emails that I saw, you have received the money that was owed to you.
While I have you on here, France, can I just do a shameless request? I had submitted I was a little bit late this year, I'll admit, because of the election and stuff, but my annual returns, like all of my ROC stuff for my 3 limited companies. And for some reason, they've not approved my beneficial, you know how you have to do the beneficiary stuff first, and then you file the annual and you pay the fees. That it's just being held in the system. And I don't know who on the compliance side just has to go in and release it. Normally it would happen within minutes. And this year, it's taken, when did I do it? Was it Friday or something? But it's taken quite a number of days. So I wonder if you might not know someone over in that section, and maybe they're listening this morning, because we do have over 750 people now listening. Maybe someone there can please go in and clear out, not just mine, but if there's like a backlog of people waiting, because if that doesn't get cleared out, I can't then, I've already filed the returns, but it won't go to that next step for me to then be able to do payment. So
Sure. Yeah, I made a little note here, so I'll look into that when I come off the call.
Thank you so much. Caller, good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Mr. Manderson, what is the government going to do about putting a cap on the number of persons who can get Cayman status in a year? I'm not sure if you heard me articulate what I think that cap should look like. And okay, well, basically, in 2024, we issued more status grants than we had births. I dare to say that that's unsustainable, and it's not going to help us. And what I think we should do is that in any one year, the government by law should be prohibited from issuing status in amounts that exceed, let's say, X percent of the net change in the local population for the previous year. And if that net change happens to be negative, then none should be allowed. That would be a policy that you wouldn't have to keep tinkering with.
Yes.
And Caymanians would not get outnumbered. Because right now what we're doing is absolute suicide. And so the term limits are an important part. But in and of themselves, that leaves too much room for that policy to be played with. And the discretion is where the abuse will occur. I think that it should, if government is saying to the private sector, you have these term limits, you need to apply those policies to yourself in the government. Now, I heard what you said.
We're doing that and more, though.
Well, except that you're saying it in a way that will allow you to modify what you do as you go along.
Not really.
Well, for example, you say that you could change it so you'd say, well, we're gonna apply it an exemption to maybe math teachers or whatever, right?
And which is very possible in the private sector as well.
Okay. what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to the issuance of status grants, that should be hard because that's where we are failing.
Yes.
If we continue to issue status grants in amounts that is twice that at which our population is growing, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that just in a few years we're going to be in really serious trouble.
Yes, sir.
We're already in trouble.
Yeah.
But it'll be over then.
Yes. But
Now,
and to answer your question, sir, is that I would ask you to give Minister Miles and his team and the government some time to look into this. I think we all know that this is a top priority issue for the government. I would also want to say to you that if you look at the stats, I would venture to say that the majority of people who are getting status right now is through marriage. So you're going to have to look at that as well. A lot of it is not people coming here on work permits and getting Cayman status. A lot of it is through marriage. So that is something that we Caymanians control 100%. So we can't blame foreigners for that.
Job we're doing there.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that we need to do a better job of owning some of our own issues rather than constantly blaming other people.
Yeah, but I'm not suggesting that number, that category should be exempted from the cap.
Oh, yes, I understand.
So I'm saying yeah, okay. So I don't want loopholes like that because the truth is that as a people we can't afford that. But there's another thing that I want to ask you about, and that is the definition of Caymanian.
Yes.
I believe that we should change the label of the concepts that already exist in law. That is Caymanian as of right and Caymanian as of grant. And I believe that Caymanian as of right, that term should be Caymanian. And the Caymanian by grant should be new Caymanian, meaning if the person doesn't have a connection to the Cayman Islands, that's a new Caymanian because they're not entitled to run for office. But of course, their children would then go on to become Caymanian.
Yeah.
But the reason for that is to be able to when you revise the law, it'll make it simpler to have a discussion because the language would be more accessible to a greater number of people. And the actual writing of the legislation would be simpler. Instead of having to refer to all sorts of sections that the average person finds it very difficult to do, you can just simply say Caymanian or New Caymanian or whatever the case might be.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you
so much, Dad. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So,
and like I would say, Ms. Sandra, I think we should just give the immigration minister and the government some time. They've only been in office for a few short weeks. They've already achieved a lot in that short time. So stay tuned. I know a lot of these things are under consideration.
Right. Plain and straight in relation to marriages, says the government needs to create a website where bans are posted for the required time before the marriage takes place instead of sticking a piece of paper and windows around the island that frankly nobody sees. Because there's a lot of fraudulent marriages, people come here and take advantage of little old people and stuff like that. But people have a right to enter into these marriages. But I think what needs to happen is, and I know there's been in the last couple of years on the administrative side, a real effort to try to weed out some of these marriages by having greater scrutiny involved. And so, yes, I think a lot of
it is a full-time job. Work is, I think, almost overwhelmed trying to investigate all the marriages. My office does a cursory background check where we call the spouses separately and ask them some questions. If we get flags, then we send it over to to work for a full investigation. These are people applying for naturalization. But we have found some really, disturbing cases where, Caymanian men forget the name of their wife.
Lord Jesus.
And it's really serious what we're doing. And when I'm saying we, I mean Caymanians, that we are so willing to give someone else our citizenship. We're better than that. That's not mankind at all.
No, and I mean,
we need to take responsibility for this.
Yeah, and some of them are so obvious. Like I have a family member; she's on her fourth or fifth Jamaican husband now, and every single one of them, France, it's the same thing. So I am at a loss for why she's not been on a special list. You need to have a special list of women and men, I suppose, who are known for engaging in this kind of behavior, and they can get married 100 times, but you have to make it clear to them that at no point will that spouse ever be granted permanent residency, whatever. They need to be blacklisted.
Yes. So
everybody knows what's going on here.
I know this is
for Jamaican construction workers and taking advantage of them.
Yeah, and I know that this is on top of the government's agenda, so I would say stay tuned.
All right, good stuff. Yeah. Somebody said that website would surely help the public to assist to expose them, and we're happy to offer that service free of charge on CMR. We'll list the bans. We'll list we can do a whole work permit section on CMR social media for you, France. No cost to you. Special offer.
All right, there we go.
And trust me, everybody will see it then.
Yeah.
Even the second and third wives in Jamaica and Honduras will be looking at it going, how is he getting married? That's my husband.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What a mess we're in. Jim, good morning. Jim says the law needs to change for those who receive status grants and PR, may be revoked if need be and not a long drawn out process. So of course, this is of grave concern, because we see that there's certain people who they toe the line until they get that piece of paper. And once they become status holders, all of a sudden they start to show their true colors. We have the morning boots or bolts, whatever the heck his name is. We have, Larry and Linda don't have work. They don't have status yet. But the other ones, they're Chris and Karen or whatever their name was with the doc situation. Once they get status, they show us who they really are. Yeah. And then we're stuck with them.
Exactly. So, I mean, like I said, this is something that I know the government has on the top of their agenda. So stay tuned.
All right. Well, one thing I'm going to throw this little nugget out there for our 700 and let me see how many people we got now. We got 743 over here plus Instagram. Hold on, Instagram folks. I don't want to forget you guys. That's another 17. So that is a total of 760 people. I want you guys, CMR is going to give you a little exclusive nugget. Remember how the progressive changed the rollover and bumped it up to 9 years? So, basically everybody was able to get to that PR stage, I suppose. I have it on good authority, very good authority, that this particular government is going to adjust it back down to 7 years. Dun, dun, dun. Kaboom! We'll give that one a kaboom. But there we go, folks. So stay tuned for that. But as Mr. Manderson said, they're definitely working hard. Al Inks says you can't be a Caymanian if you're owned by England. Independence makes us Caymanian. I know it's a bad word for Cayman. And the technicality, he's right. Yes. Morning, Miss Lucille. No, we're good. Dominique says stay tuned. All right, let me see if we have any other questions. Did we do this? Oh, yes. This person said, not exempting these poor performing teachers, they need to be in the first flight out. Contracted officers have 2-year contracts, then they, and don't renew them. So, of course, there is a real need for qualified Caymanians. So perhaps this is the time now, especially before the radio shuts off. If you are a Caymanian overseas and you've been working overseas 5-10 years, whatever, start to pack your bags, honey. And start to look at civil service jobs that you're qualified for and that you may want to work in, because yes, this will be your opportunity to come back home now to your country and to take up these positions in the civil service and to make a real difference. So you can't get rid of anybody if there's no one to fill those jobs. So start getting on it, folks. College leavers, somebody was complaining that their kids were winning a scholarship and they were coming back and they're finding that not even in the civil service, which is the country's largest employer, could they find a placement. So,
Yeah, I mean, and we have a limit. We are 4,800 people. We alone is not going to solve any of these issues. We are very small. Like I said, there are 1,400 non-Caymanians in the civil service. There are 37,000 in the private sector. So I'm going to do my part. That is my obligation and my commitment, and it's something that I've been doing since I was 16 years old, is enforcing rules and giving our people an opportunity. So while I'm deputy governor, we are going to ensure that we do everything that is possible to give Caymanian opportunities. Listen, in the civil service, the vast majority of the senior leadership team is Caymanian. All of my chief officers in our ministries are Caymanian. We have two chief officers that are not Caymanians at the moment. That is our Solicitor General and our DPP. Everyone else are Caymanians. Women make up 55% of the civil service. Women are paid more than men in the civil service, and mostly that's because a lot of the teachers. 60% of all the promotions that we've had in the civil service over the last 2 years have been to women. Women are, we pay very close attention to ensuring that, women are getting jobs throughout our civil service. We have a woman who made history at DVDL a few months ago, became our first vehicle inspector. We have a woman. The director of hazard management is a woman. One of our deputy chief fire officers is a woman. So we are doing some really good work in that area. But then what are we doing about Caymanians? So we have an excellent second chances program, Sandra, that I am very proud of. We have now about 17 Caymanians that had not been working, some of them in excess of 4 years, 4 to 5 years. They could not get a job anywhere else because of a conviction that they had 15 years ago. We have now put them to work in the civil service, and only one of those persons have not done well. Everyone else has stayed with us in the civil service and has become productive employees and productive members of our society. We have an emerging talent program, which I'm very proud of. What does that do? It allows college students that have zero experience to come in and get appointed to our job right away. So we have had a number of successes, whether it was a veterinarian who came back and there was no job really available, and we used that program to get her into the agriculture department, or one of our communication specialists who came back. We didn't have an available position. And these are all of our born Caymanians. I'm not talking about paper Caymanians now. I'm talking about our born Caymanians coming back from school, getting all of these opportunities. I am proud of what we're doing within our civil service. And I am proud to see the number of Caymanians that are coming into the civil service. It has been, it has been inspiring to me to walk around the civil service and meet these young Caymanians who are coming in from the accounting firms, from the law firms, from all of the top companies in Cayman. A lot of them are coming to join us in the civil service. We can be proud today of the things that we are doing, and we are going to continue to do it by introducing these policies in a very fair and equitable way to ensure that our people that we fight for every day, that they get the jobs that they deserve. So,
okay. We've got a caller. Good morning, caller. Brief comment or question?
Yes.
Good morning. Brief.
Yes, sir.
Anderson, this is Edward.
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Edward.
I just want to find out if it's possible to get a seating with you for 5-6 minutes. You agreed. You would find some space. You would discuss it with your secretary. It's been quite a while, sir.
Okay, but just get back in touch with me, sir. I'll be happy to do it. Things have been pretty hectic the last couple of weeks, but happy to have you in, sir.
To make an appointment again.
Yeah. You gotta remind me. I can't remember who you are now, so you gotta remind me so I can do it.
Edward Whitaker.
Okay. All right, sir. Yes.
sir. And Miss Sandra.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to you.
Good morning,
I need
sir.
to talk to you because you and some duns put me on my road. You have no idea who you talking about. I am a serious, honorable citizen, and I did not appreciate what I see and hear on that Mall Road.
Why were you put on Mall Road? I don't know who you are either, but why were you put on Mall Road?
You put it there.
About what, sir?
That with you in private if I ever see you again.
I don't know. What post? What are we talking about?
I'm talking about a parking situation in Foster's.
A parking situation in Foster's.
Parking was the reason I spending money. Whoever this dunce is with this phone running around cameraing people.
Oh, you were the white car that was parked on the sidewalk this weekend?
Yeah, not this weekend. Not this weekend. You had quite a few incidents since that.
Oh.
But I'm only saying I would like to discuss it with you in person rather than there. So
yeah. Well, I mean, listen, let me clarify a couple things for you. Okay. First of all, I am not, and I've said this before, and I need y'all to pay attention. You probably don't even need to discuss it with me because the chances that it was actually me who posted it are slim to none. Because I don't manage the social media. We have other people.
You hear what I tell you? I know who you are, you know. I know who you are.
Well, what does that have to do with anything? I'm explaining to you that we have
the height from around this place.
Sir, I'm explaining to you that we have post administrators on Facebook who they will receive these messages and they will post them up.
Who dealing with before you go do them things. I got 69 years this goddamn country of doing good, and I don't appreciate what calling me no freaking names. You understand what I tell you?
Okay, Mr. Whitaker, let's keep it civil.
All right, Mr. Whitaker. Well, at the end of the day, folks, I'll say it again. We've got administrators on the page. When you send them stuff, they will post it up. I'm sure they didn't know if you were Mr. Whitaker or Mr. Jim Jones from Guyana, and it really doesn't matter if you're breaking parking rules and regulations and it's pretty obvious, or you're in a parking spot that's handicapped and you're not supposed to be, the team will post you up. So you don't need to personally talk to me at all. If you have a complaint that you think we did something unlawful or illegal, you're more than free to go to our friends over the RCIPS and simply report it to them. You don't need to have a conversation with me in person because, like I said, I'm not going to know who you are, and the chances that I personally posted it is probably slim to none. So Gabby says, from the attitude, I can see why he got jackass of the day. Folks, it is what it is. The rules are very, very simple. We try to encourage people to adhere to the street rules, the parking rules, and all that sort of stuff. And if you don't, then you certainly take your chances being featured on CMR. Don't take it personal. I don't care if you've been here 99 years. If you're still driving and you do it, then it is what it is. So, honey chow, we got a very long letter here from a Katie Jackson, a proud Caymanian educator, who's expressing her deep disappointment. Mr. Manderson, because I'm a little bit tight on time today, I'm going to go ahead and send this to you, so that maybe you can look this over and get back to her, because I think her information is in the letter. Okay. We've got close now to 800 people, 795 people on the show. Mr. Manderson, I think this proves how incredibly popular you are, if nothing else. And I really hope that during the next 4 years, we can have greater engagement with you specifically.
Sure.
Because, hearing from you.
Yes, no, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity. And thanks to everyone who tuned in. Thanks for the questions. I want to be accountable. I want to be accessible, and I'm here to answer your questions. And I have this sign in my office. I had just took it down recently to put it back up. No silent victories, right? And Sandra, you remind me about that a couple of weeks ago. Is that we have so many what I call silent victories in the civil service. Is that sometimes we do these amazing things. We save people's lives. We make people's lives better. I could have a show, Sandra, where I just tell the public some of the really amazing things that civil servants do every day to make people's lives better in the Cayman Islands. But we don't say it enough. We only come on sometimes when there's a problem or whatever. So our comms team, can't make things up. So what I've been challenging my team is to, give our comms team as much ammunition as possible to get it out. Me, come on. I have to be the chief storyteller of the civil service. I'm the one that's in charge. So you have been very, always been accessible, Sandra, and I very, very much appreciate it. So yes, I will look forward to coming on and educating the public and answering questions. I know we all want the same thing. Everyone on this call now, you especially, want our people to feel empowered, feel that their government and the people of the Cayman Islands care about them and their children and their future, and that our people are getting the very best opportunities that they deserve. I think we all want the same thing. It's just a matter about how we go about doing that. I believe in being the. If I see a problem, I try to be the solution, and I think more of us need to do that. Is just try to be the solution. I mean, my challenge right now. Just think of if there's 37,000 non-Caymanians out there. If you think that if half of the private sector employees or the employers out there decided tomorrow, I'm going to give one Caymanian that applied for a job with me, wasn't that great, needed some work. I'm going to take that person on and groom them and mentor them. You realize what a difference that would make in our islands, right? It would make a huge difference. And we're trying to do that in the civil service, but we can't solve this problem on our own. We have a tight budget. You see that the government is now having to deal with a potential deficit. So we in the civil service can't do it all. We need everyone to be that employer where Caymanians want to work and where Caymanians want to flock to. They're coming to the civil service in droves, and we also need that to happen within the private sector where they are also doing their share of the work as well.
Yep. All right. Very good, folks. Mr. France Manderson, Ms. Beverly says interesting topics this morning. Romelia says, Mr. Manderson stated without teachers, we'd be in a mess. Sir, we are in a mess with some of the teachers we have now. Maristar Belika says, if the photo of the car was genuine, what is the complaint? And making threats to on air. Proof recorded, sir. What a mess. Our people are indeed special sometimes. Plain and Straight says, thanks for coming on and answering some of our questions, Mr. Manderson. And we have a slew of other questions. I will just forward that to you by WhatsApp because a lot of people starting to engage now. Final call of the day. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
How morning, dear. Not bad. How are you?
Good morning.
I'm doing good. Good morning, Mr. Franz.
Good morning. Good morning.
Just wanted to say thank you very much for coming on to explain everything to us.
Thank you. You're welcome.
A lot of the times we don't understand a lot of it.
Yes, that's right.
And it's really good to know that we have someone like yourself, because I've watched you through immigration and everything when you were there, and I just want to say thank you because it means a lot to me personally as a Caymanian to have a Caymanian come and explain it, and I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
And the civil service, and continue to keep doing the jobs that all you do. Yes. I know that sometimes we can be very critical of the civil service where we see things need improving. Yes. We speak out, but I just want to say thank you, and it's good to know that you're in charge and you're looking after our Caymanians and looking for them, because we need somebody to be a voice to lead us and to help educate those, even the students coming back, because yes, the students coming back that the government has paid for scholarships and so forth. Yes, none of those should come back and not be able to find something to do in the civil service till they can get where they need to be with what qualifications they have. So thank you for looking out for my fellow Caymanians.
Yes.
And I thank you, sir. God bless you and the civil service, and God continue to bless these 3 Cayman Islands. And thank you for all your years of service, sir.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're very well, very well Like,
respected,
you're
yes.
known in the community, and wherever I see you, I smile.
Thank you. And I always smile back. Yes.
Yeah. I don't say a lot unless something needs attended to, but this is something I greatly want to say thank you. As a Caymanian, thank you. God bless you. God bless the civil service, and God continue to bless these islands and the new government that we have, because I think the voters have spoken.
Yes, sir.
And they gave all 54 who tried to get back or tried to get a seat in government. The people spoke, those who voted, those who didn't. We all had a choice. But with what was put out there after the general election, to see that within 24 hours, the two parties that got in, those 4 each, and then the 3 independent, to see them come together and realize the people of this country, the Caymanians, the voters, spoke, and they gave you something to work with, and they went and they worked with it. So hats off to the civil service and to the government. And I wish all of you all of the best. And thank you, and have a good rest of the week.
Appreciate it so much, my dear.
You're welcome.
All right, so let's just end with a couple quick questions so I can make sure I get the court on time. Irvelin says, so because he's spending money, he can park anywhere. The goddamn entitlement. What a mess. Mr. France can be on CMR TV, says Jasara. Oh, it's coming soon. I'm so excited. Our prototype website is ready. I'm very, very excited. Lots of wonderful things happening in the background. I don't know if you heard Mr. Manderson. We got CMR TV coming online. Lots of amazing shows.
All right.
Have our CMR radio station launching a bit later on in the year.
Wow.
Off reg approval, of course. So yes, we're very, very excited. Yes, thank you so much. Clean and Straight says there's also a problem people getting trade business licenses for all sorts of maid and nanny services so that they can keep their woman and their friends here in Cayman. And sometimes they don't even have jobs for them. So these things we need a real enforcement arm. CE Bank says a big thank you to Mr. Manderson, true Caymanian and a good man. Once again, thank you for explaining everything to us, the people. Hope that God continues to bless you and the civil service.
Thank you.
Pat says, may I suggest that each government department make regular appearances on CMR, also hire CMR to assist with recruitment. Oh, Jesus.
Okay. Recruitment now, the detectives and a recruitment and an HR specialist. Yes.
Although I do have my master's in, my specialization is in HR training and development. But no, I've left that behind. CMR is where you will meet and hear from us, the people. I'll leave the hiring to the professionals, but I'll be keeping an eye on them. Miss Marjorie says he's always doing a great job with a big, kind, understanding heart. Al says, imagine Mr. France Manderson being the first president of the Cayman Islands. I hate to dream.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll stick with deputy governor. Yes.
Gina asking about this. I would love to know who came up with this stupid idea for Caymanians to have to prove that they're really Caymanians. Gina, this issue can be fixed, and we hope that this coalition government will finally put this issue to bed and fix it once and for all.
Yes.
Amanda says, so true. Aunt Jenny made an honest man, a man that cares for his people. We're proud of you, France.
Thank you.
Thank you. Of course.
Yes.
Miss Jenny Manderson, which, by the way, I need to interview her for Cayman Voices. I know
you should. She has an amazing
wealth of information.
She's still my best source of knowledge. Yeah.
Yes. And Miss Lucille saying how much she loves you. Yes, Island Pearl, I'm going to be heading out. Patricia says, awesome, DG. So France, again, lots of positive comments, and people really stuck with the program this morning. Yeah, and I want to thank you for coming on.
Yes.
And hopefully it's one of many visits. I want to encourage your listeners, don't leave quite yet, because I'm going to play this video from Mr. Darren McLean. As a Caymanian, some of us work very, very hard to get professional qualifications. This man has demonstrated that we can do it. We've got smart people that come from all districts, all walks of life, son of the soil, multi-generational Caymanians. And I'm so proud of Darren. Obviously, I know his parents, I know the family. My aunt is his aunt on the other side of the family. So we couldn't be any more proud of Darren, and we got to catch up with him a little bit yesterday. If you see this young man out and about, just give him a little Caymanian thumbs up.
Yes.
But here's Darren, really, really nice young man doing a fine job. First Caymanian police helicopter.
My name is Darren McLean, and I am a pilot with the RCIPS. I started back in 2012 to get my initial commercial license in America. Got my license in 2013, and I came home and I joined the RCIPS in 2017. I always wanted to fly from a young age, and we all know that Cayman Airways, you can go away as a young child. You can go, out of school, you can go away, get your license, and come back home and start flying. So that was always, I thought, would have been my end goal, to fly for Cayman Airways. However, I did take a ride in a tour helicopter at a later age in my life, and I just fell in love with helicopters. So that's what made me change my passion, but I always had a passion to fly, and I just ended up flying helicopters. It was difficult, but it's not impossible. It was difficult, everything you start off doing, I kind of live by this motto that each day, something that you say is difficult for that day will become easier the next day, but you just have to keep at it. I hope to just be someone that people can look up to, so that I was an inspiration, I was hope, and people can say, okay, well, I want to come to Darren for guidance because I want to pursue something. I want to pursue the career in helicopters. I want to give that inspiration to the younger generation. I want to be someone who the kids of Cayman can look up to, and even my fellow peers, that, anything you put your mind to, you can achieve. Hardest, most difficult part of my job is, that's a good question, Sometimes, I've just started out, but I know there will be hard decisions to come, because it is a job where we are always on a task, on a mission where lives are at risk. And we're trying to save lives, we're trying to protect the community, we're trying to bring that feeling of safety to the community, but we do have our limitations. So it's being the captain of the aircraft, the hardest decision would be, okay, what is the cutoff point? Can I actually do this mission? Can we make it into that area? Can we do that? Is the weather good enough? All of these factors I have to have in my mind, while also knowing that someone's life may be at risk, or the safety of the community may be at risk. Thank you, Cayman Rollover, for having me on today, and God bless you all.
All right, so wonderful. Again, Darren McLean,
inspiration.
Incredibly proud, absolutely.
Yeah,
your cousin in Round Rock, Texas,
yes,
Richard says hello.
Richard, how are you? Good to hear from you.
All right, Mr. Manderson, final comments before we let you go.
Yes, again, thanks you for having me on, and thanks to the hundreds of people that tuned in today, and for their comments and questions. Thank you all very much. I want to thank Her Excellency the Governor, our Premier, our government, for all working collaboratively to get us where we are today with introducing term limits for non-Caymanian civil service in the way in which we have. I wholeheartedly believe that this will do what is intended, is to limit the number of time that a non-Caymanian can stay here without security of tenure. It will give our people the very best opportunities for the very best jobs within our civil service. And stay tuned. A lot of wonderful things are happening within our civil service. Be proud of people like Darren, and Caymanians. This is our time. This is our time to step up, to do the right thing, to be responsible, to hold ourselves accountable, and do what is necessary to continue to make the Cayman Islands the very best place. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. Again, that's the Deputy Governor, the Honorable France Manderson. Folks, have a beautiful day. We'll see you tomorrow for our Thursday show. Make sure you tune in right at 7:30 a.m. Have a fantastic Wednesday.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.